I think we can start. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thanks David for taking time for another session with us. You can start.
All right, thanks everyone for joining us today. We are going to be talking about how to conduct a team's business voice assessment using the tools that Microsoft provides for us. On Monday of next week, we'll also be talking a little bit about the business value of Teams voice and some of the maybe the kind of the marketing side of things and how to run sales efforts for Teams. Overall, the goal for Teams. So, hopefully that'll be of value to everybody. Just so you know, all the decks and or the PowerPoints for the session that we've been running for Tarsus are located at the URL that's listed there. In fact, this deck is listed there already. So you're welcome to go there and download those and have them as reference. So let's get started. So one of the things that we have noticed over the last couple of years is that telephony has changed dramatically, especially when we talk about the SMB space. So the SMB businesses or SMB customers, frequently we see them experiencing different challenges with regard to their telephony solutions. So they're often stuck between either a phone solution or a telephony solution that is more designed for like an enterprise or a larger business where they've got their own PBX and their own dedicated phones and expensive infrastructure where the phones are tied to a physical location in the office. They're on a person's desk or in a conference room or whatever it might be. And then they'll just forward to their mobile phones. So those solutions tend to be fairly costly to acquire and then to maintain. So that's one problem that an SMB might face is having that sort of phone system. The other solution that they might go with is something like a Google Voice or something like that, where there's just a forwarding process going on where phones are just being forwarded to your own personal mobile phone. And that can be challenging as well. So you might have multiple apps that you're using for collaboration as well as voice and other capabilities. And so you've got multiple providers that you have to work with, and just that complexity can also add up to additional expenses and costs for management. In many cases, neither one was a really good solution. There wasn't a solution that provided the ability to have an on-premise infrastructure, as well as the simplicity of having a cloud infrastructure that also integrated with other line of business tools. The opportunity, however, for cloud telephony is quite large. This is the year that we're seeing a lot of customers begin the move to cloud telephony. Gartner actually ran this test, and they ran it in May of this year, or not a test, but a survey, and they revised their forecast for 2021 because of COVID. And because of that, the expectations for cloud telephony have increased dramatically. So they're seeing growth in 2021 of 18%, and SMBs especially, about half of them are looking to invest in unified communications, which is a very, very significant portion of the market that's available to you. And I know that many of the partners that we work with in South Africa are in the SMB space. So in this economy where it can be very challenging to find new business, this is the number that you want to be chasing, right? This is the number that represents opportunity over the next 12 months, this cloud telephony market. So let's talk about the opportunity with M365 Business Voice and how you can take advantage of this obvious customer need and the revenue opportunity that comes along with it. So one of the things that I like most about Teams Voice is the fact that you have options in terms of the devices that you choose and the different form factors. So this is just showing 3 of the form factors that are available. You've got your mobile device, you've got your standard, like a laptop or desktop, whatever it might be, and then your traditional desk phones. But you aren't constrained to having a standard desk phone. There's several different ways you can get voice delivered to you via Teams. And what's not really depicted here is that this laptop could be running Teams Voice over the Teams client, or could actually be running this over maybe a Google web browser. So a Chrome web browser will also carry Teams Voice. So you don't even have to have the Teams client on device that you're making a call from. So that gives customers a lot of flexibility in terms of how they deploy this service, and gives a lot of options in terms of mobility as well. So you aren't constrained by the location of this phone. As long as you have a mobile phone, as long as you have a web browser, you can make phone calls using Teams. I'm not going to go through every single one of the features here that have been shipped in the recent calendar year, but there are a few that are pretty interesting to think about. So the one here in calendar year 2020 Q2, convenience recording. So what this is actually talking about is the idea that we can record the meeting that we're on right now, for example, and Poe is recording this meeting. But up until just recently, the idea of recording a phone call between 2 users didn't exist in Teams. So that's what this convenience recording is. It allows you to record a one-to-one call, and we've worked to ensure that the experience when you record a call is very similar to what you would experience when you're recording a standard meeting. So this is something that a lot of customers have been asking for. We've also got things like reverse number lookup. I mentioned the capability of making phone calls within Chrome. So using the Chrome browser, you can make phone calls. That's all you need on your laptop. You can just open the browser, go to Teams, and make a phone call. There's some other things that shipped last year, things like being able to share your whiteboard, being able to draw and have other people on the the call or the meeting, see what you're drawing on the whiteboard. The idea of common area phone support. So having a phone that might be in a server room or a lobby or some other common area, having that supported in teams where typically you had the there has to be an account associated with the Teams user. So we reduce the licensing that's necessary for the common area phones, so that you don't have to have like a full M365 E5 SKU, as just an example. And then a very common scenario is having boss admin scenario support, so you can delegate the answering and responding to phone calls to someone in your chain of command. So in terms of how Teams can help a business save time, reduce their costs, improve business performance, these were some numbers that, again, Forrester came up with, and this was back in 2019, so late 2019, before all of the COVID excitement happened. And these were some numbers that they came up with in terms of how much a business could save by switching over to Teams Voice. Now, these numbers aren't guaranteed by any means. These are just estimates of a typical business size and usage patterns and things like that. But even if they're overinflated for a particular business segment, or maybe they don't quite reflect what your customers see, it still does represent some cost savings and productivity improvements. So there were some quotes from that study that were interesting. So we had this head of IT service in a manufacturing industry that said that integration of business voice into the whole Microsoft ecosystem is going to be the biggest benefit. And that really is one of the keys that we're seeing, is the fact that Teams integrates with all your other Microsoft products. And you're able to, for example, work on a Word document or a PowerPoint presentation right from within Teams while you're on a call, while you're on a meeting, and there's no changing context for the end user. They just stay within that one app. Again, this is before COVID hit in 2019, but this operations director said people are doing a lot more remotely now because the business voice is integrated into Teams, and it's improved sales and delivery. So we can only imagine how much that has improved for them since the lockdown and quarantine scenario has hit, where everybody has to work remotely to a certain extent. Licensing is pretty simple from the M365 business side of things. So we are talking specifically about the business SKUs, not the enterprise SKUs, when we go through these sessions with Tarsus. So from a practical perspective, the licensing here on the left is not available to customers in South Africa because we haven't gotten the approvals yet to deliver business voice in South Africa natively. So the only way that we can, or to deliver voice out of Microsoft's data centers, I should say. So we do have the option of providing business voice without providing a calling plan, and that would require that a customer leverage what we call direct routing, getting a calling plan from a telco, or from, I think Tarsus is also offering a direct routing service. So customers can leverage that as a part of their telephony infrastructure. Keep in mind that there is a free 30-day trial available to your customers. So if they've got M365 Business and they want to test drive the business voice infrastructure, that is possible. So make sure that you're offering that. And if you look at the difference between the SKUs for users that get the calling plan and then the ones that are what you would experience in South Africa, the ones without the calling plan, there's an $8 difference. but that is really the only difference in terms of functionality. The only thing that's different is that Microsoft handles the outbound calling in the $20 scenario, whereas you'd have a telco that would handle the outbound calling in the direct route scenario. So that's you still get the same sort of functionality that you would with the cloud native capabilities of Teams Voice. The only thing that's different is making the handoff to the PSTN is handled by your telco rather than by Microsoft. So what is the difference between business voice and enterprise voice? I think this is one of the biggest advantages or one of the biggest developments that has been in favor of the SMB market in probably the last 2 years that I've seen. So up until now, it was only enterprise users that could take advantage of the enterprise voice or the Teams voice capabilities to any extent. And that limited a huge portion of the market, the SMB market. And so I was really excited to hear about the business voice opportunity. And when I saw how it's implemented, it was even more exciting because there is a setup wizard for the business voice SKU that helps partners like yourself get customers set up very quickly, even if you don't have a ton of experience with voice. It's a very, very simple wizard that you just walk through and get your auto attendance and call queues and phone numbers assigned and things like that. So that's been a really great advantage. It is limited to the for the business voice. It is limited to 1 to 300 users, and then once you get beyond that, you get into the enterprise SKU level of things. So this is really one of the biggest developments that I've seen in the last couple years. The other one that has been pretty impressive in my opinion is the addition of the Azure AD Premium 1 SKU earlier this year, which gives the SMB customers some of the security features for like cloud app security and Azure Information Protection, Windows Virtual Desktop, Azure App Proxy. Those are some of the things that come with the P1 SKU, and those are really good from a security perspective. But from a voice perspective, this was one of the nicest developments I've seen, and one that I was really, really excited to hear about. So let's talk about what it means to develop your voice practice and how we can help do that. So one of the questions we get most frequently from partners about business voice is, how do I get started building a practice? Maybe I don't have a lot of familiarity with how voice works and what needs to be in place. So the short answer is it's probably easier than you think. So whether you're a small partner that's reselling Microsoft 365, or if you're on the larger side and you're well established and you're interested in delivering direct routing services, adding the business voice practice to your portfolio is pretty easy to do. We've invested very heavily in refining the guidance that we provide around how to build a successful practice, and we've created a lot of assets that partners can leverage. So we'll talk about just a couple of these things, but this is really the methodology that we recommend partners use is define your strategy, develop your capabilities, and then operationalize the plan. So each step aligns with a series of partner assets that you can leverage to build your practice. And then I encourage you to download this deck, and you can follow kind of steps of what we're talking about. So the typical methodology that we see among partners that are developing a Teams practice and that want to get into calling kind of follows this flow. So delivering Teams itself, in other words, getting Teams installed for a customer and getting a customer up and running on Teams is fairly straightforward. There's not a whole lot of complexity there. Where partners need to first focus their attention is on Teams adoption. So how do you drive the usage of Teams and ensure that people are using the features that are built into the tool, the file sharing, the chat, and things like that. Because those skills of driving adoption are going to be relevant when we get into things like meeting services and calling services. Being able to properly train your customers on how to do things with these new tools is going to be very necessary. So the second step is typically meeting services. This is a less difficult transition for many customers because they've already got some kind of a meeting service, whether they're using Zoom or some other service to provide their meeting capabilities. It's just a transition to a new tool to do that. But in many cases, it's a fairly straightforward switch. Where much of the money comes from for many partners is in delivering calling services, doing the telephony planning, doing any network assessments that are necessary, fixing any network issues that might be hampering the call quality, acquiring any devices, phones, headsets, those sort of things, and then setting up the calling services. This is where a lot of the revenue is found for partners in the Teams calling space. So kind of think about how you can follow this trajectory and maybe where you are on this timeline so that you know what your next step. We do provide some practice building guidance. If you go to the link down here, aka.ms Teams Calling Meeting Guide, and it provides very high level guidance. It's one of those flip digital flip books or flip magazines that you can kind of just read through, and there's videos to watch and so on. But there are also links that you can download, assets that can help you understand how to properly build out your voice practice. The next step in enabling your business voice practice is to build the set of skills and capabilities in your organization that will enable you to sell and deploy and then support business voice. And in addition to that, you want to figure out what it is about you as a partner that differentiates you from the rest of the market. So first, you need to look at your organization, look at the people in your organization, figure out what your current skill set is, what resources you have available, and identify what the gaps are. What are the things that you need to learn? Do you need to learn how to sell business voice? Do you need to learn some of the terminology, understanding what an auto attendant is, what a call queue is, what a hunt group is? Is that where you need to build your strength? Well, we provide some skills and resources that can help you identify and fill those types of readiness gaps. The next thing you want to do is develop your sales and technical readiness plan to build those capabilities so that you're able to deliver on the solutions that you want to position in the market. And then if you go even further, there are certifications and competencies from a Microsoft perspective that help to differentiate you from other partners in the same market. So realistically, if a Microsoft seller is looking for someone to deliver a Teams voice solution, the likelihood is that they're going to choose a partner that has demonstrated their capability by achieving certifications, by gaining competencies. They're going to choose that partner over one that doesn't have those, right? That's just the logical thing to do. So make sure that in order to differentiate yourself, that you're achieving these different competencies and certifications so that you stand out as being unique. So now that you've defined your strategy, maybe you've built some offers or solutions that you want to take to market, you've trained your organization, now you can operationalize your business voice practice. So you'll need to build your go-to-market plan. define how you're going to target your customers, build your sales pipeline, learn how to lead customer conversations and drive adoption of business voice. So we have a series of customizable, ready to launch resources that you can use to that end. I'll show you a little bit of those at the end of the session. And then once you begin engaging with your customers, start using the business voice workshop in your customer planning conversations. And we'll go into that workshop in just a moment. The last thing is, we know that the most effective way to land business value of voice is to let customers experience it for themselves. So there is, as I mentioned before, a business voice trial. And this is something that you should take advantage of with your customers to make sure that they sign up for that and use it. Again, this is a list of some of the resources. If you go to this URL when you download this deck and click on this, it will download all of these resources. So you don't have to download them individually, just download this voice development guide. It is, I will say, I think between 300 and 500 meg. So it is a pretty hefty download. So, you know, don't try to download it as you're on a cell phone or something like that. You'll run out of data real. But as you can see, they're categorized and they are categorized in the downloadable zip file in different folders for assets that you can use to learn business voice, how to market business voice, selling it, and then deploying it. So it's a good set of resources that you can use to help yourself get started with the business voice practice. And so what we want to talk about is the business voice workshop. And the business voice workshop is really helping a customer plan for delivering or plan on implementing business voice. One of the things that's nice about this workshop is that it can be delivered over the phone. You don't have to be face-to-face with a customer or physically in the same building. If your sales team wants to deliver this workshop over the phone, it's perfectly possible to do that. And that's one of the ways that the actual workshop was designed was for it to be delivered remotely to facilitate the current circumstances. And did I mention that there's a business voice trial? So one of the things that I want to make sure that you're thinking about is back in March or April, when Microsoft made available the free 6-month trials for Teams and Office 365 for customers around the world. If you think about where we are in the timeline, so 6 months from April or March, depending on when the customer got implemented, we're running up on that time, the expiration of that trial right now, right? It's within the next couple months. So in order to get those partners over to a paid subscription, you need to be demonstrating value of Teams to them. And one of the ways that you can do that is get them a Teams voice trial to show them the value of Teams voice, get you in front of the customer to talk about some of the other features in Teams, and give you the opportunity to get them over to a paid subscription. So this is a way for you to convert those free trials into a paid subscription. So take advantage of it and make sure that your customers are seeing the value of Teams so that they don't just drop off at the end of that 6-month trial. Okay, the way that we deliver the workshop is using the commercial consulting tool, which is accessible here at cct.transform.microsoft.com. It does run in 2 different modes. So one of the earlier sessions that we delivered was about the assessment, Teams assessment. So there is a way to run the tool to determine what kind of licensing is appropriate for the customer, and then there's one that helps to deliver the workshops. So we're going to be talking about the workshop version, whereas previously we just talked about the licensing assessment that can be delivered with the tool. There are 2 workshops available as of today. There's one for secure remote work, which talks about identity as well as teams, and then one that talks about business exclusively. What the commercial consulting tool provides as output or as a deliverable is a comprehensive assessment, which is available as an online asset, but there is also a downloadable PowerPoint that you can walk through with your customers at the end. And you'll see how quickly this can be done as I walk through it. Here's how you get to the CCT tool if you have any issues. You do have to log in with your MPN account, your Microsoft Partner Network account. And if you haven't logged into the tool before, these are the steps that you would perform. Okay, so I've got the step-by-step screenshots here that you can use in the downloadable asset, but let's actually just go to the tool itself. All right. So this is what the tool looks like, as you can see. Secure remote work is the only one that you can actually choose here. I'm clicking on all these other ones. There's nothing to click. It's just indicating some other additional modules that you can add on to secure. So let's just get started. And you don't have to enter any store affiliation. You don't have to say it's for a customer, but let's go ahead and say Contoso. There you go. Okay, so Contoso is my customer. I'm going to say he's in South Africa. And the industry that they're in, we'll say transportation and warehouse, and the customer name is Contoso. And then here's the option. So the help me choose a solution, this is the assessment that gives you the licensing breakdown, and then start a workshop is what we're talking about here. Click on that, click next. Now you have the ability to do the secure remote workshop or the business voice workshop. So we're going to select that one. Begin assessment. So this is where you would go through the questions with your customer over the phone. And there's 3 categories of questions that are being asked here. I'm just going to make some decisions here as far as the answers. But obviously you would take it a little more slowly with your customer to get a feel for what their needs are. So do you want to make outbound international calls? Yes, we do. Do you want to set up phones for common area use? Yes. Do you want to use business voice for your conference rooms? I don't know. Where will end users make and receive calls? Either the office or remote or both. How do you handle calls on your primary business telephone number today? Let's say we've got live with a receptionist, or we might have an automated attendant. Do you have any of the use any of the following for answering calls on your primary business telephone number today? Shared or multi-line appearance, call pickup groups, not applicable. How do you handle overflow of calls if employees are unable to answer their calls? Just go to voicemail. What do you do about after-hour calls? We forward it to an answering service. You have executives that require calls to be answered on their behalf. Sure. What type of devices will your end users use for business voice? So say desktop, headsets, PCs, mobile device. Do you require call detail reporting of incoming or outgoing calls? I don't know. Is it important to have a phone managed on an ongoing basis? I don't know. Do you have a plan for assigning administrative rights on your new system? No plan. Would you like assistance with your deployment? Yes, I don't know how to do it. Which of the following phone system features would you like to enable? Let's do caller ID and emergency calling. Which of the following phone system end user features would you like to enable? Call forwarding, and I want it to be able to ring on my desk phone and my mobile phone, so simultaneous ringing. Do users require voicemail? Yes. Are there mailboxes already in M365? Yes. Do they need voicemail transcription, either, in other words, a typed out or transcribed copy of their voicemail delivered to their mailbox? We'll say no. You want to enable phone system call menus or auto attendance? Not sure. You want to enable extension level dialing? Do you require the ability to support call queue, inbound calls for customer service and help desk? I don't know what that means. If your company utilizes call queues to automate the routing of calls, what method of call queuing do you utilize? Not sure. Okay. So obviously you would go through these questions a little bit more slowly with your customer. You would talk to them about the pros and cons of each scenario, and understand why they might choose one over the other. In the end, what we provide you with is a recommendation, first of all, for licensing. So it recommends that you would do this without calling plan, because the South Africa market does not support the calling plan. International call billing by third-party service provider. Again, this is where your direct routing comes into play. And then we provide you with some next steps. So what are the things that you have to do to actually implement this solution for your customer? So the planning steps, the deployment steps, and then the questions and answers that were provided by the customer, so have a record of why we came to certain decisions. You can then take this information and download it into a PowerPoint presentation. And this will take probably about 30 seconds to download the full presentation. Wait for that to download just so that you can see what it looks like. And it will be a customized presentation that reflects the answers that the customer provided to you during the assessment. Okay, so there we go. So now it's created this PowerPoint for me. It reflects the customer name that I input in the tool, although you can change if you want. It's all. And then what we do in the tool is provide you with an overview of the value of Business Voice, what the recommendations are as far as licensing, what the steps will be for enabling Business Voice, deployment planning, and then comparison charts. So you can kind of walk through this with the customer on the call, you know, what the licensing recommendation is and why that selection was chosen for the options that are from the options that are available. What do we need to do to activate Business Voice? In other words, what is the level of effort that you're going to have to be engaged in to help this customer get Business Voice implemented? All this, what are the things that need to be answered, or the questions that need to be answered before we can really get started? So questions about extension dialing, setting up of call queues, those are things that need to be resolved or understood more clearly in order to have a successful deployment. And then here's your comparison that we saw in the previous slide. What the features are that you'll get, what the cost is, some of the more granular features that your customer can enjoy, and then what were the questions and answers that you provided to the business value assessment. Okay, so you can walk through this with your customer while they're on the phone, maybe on a Teams meeting, and explain to them what's going to be necessary as far as delivering this type of an assessment. What's nice about the tool here is that it also saves under this dashboard up here at the top. It saves this this entire questionnaire process that you went through with the customer. So you see here, it shows that I worked with Contoso and went through the business voice questionnaire with them. I can download the assets again, so I can download the PowerPoint presentation if I lose it or if the customer loses it, and I can relaunch the same assessment if some of the answers change, so I can update things. So that's a pretty useful feature of the tool. Now, once I've got this presentation available and can deliver it, the other one actually, this presentation, and have delivered it to my customer, there are some other tools that I can take advantage of. So if I scoot down past all these screenshots, so this is one that I've spoken of before on these calls with Tarsus, but it's one that I think partners just need to remember where this is. So aka.ms/partner launchpad. So if we go to partner launchpad, this is what we end up with. There's some great assets in here for you as a partner to use to help build out your business. So one of the things that you can do here is build out an offer. This one is focused on Teams. This one is focused on Windows 10 and Office 365. And this one obviously is focused on security. But so you could build out an offer for Teams stored here. But let's say that we want to build out an offer, build a new offer. So I can go in here and I can create a catalog of the services that I provide as a partner, what I charge for each of those services, what my margin is, and that catalog will be available here for me to build out offers for solutions. So the catalog is actually stored here, your catalog. If I click on this, I can add and edit anything in this catalog. This is my personal copy of the catalog. So depending on how much I charge for Exchange Online and what my margin is, I can have some add-ons for different business SKUs. Any other software that I sell, if I sell WebRoot or Trend Micro or Adobe Creator or whatever, I can add those in here as individual tools and what my margin is. Specific services that I provide. So I could say, I'm going to deliver voice. So I'm going to call this configuration, and we'll call it M365 Business Voice Deployment. And the customer price, we'll say it's going to be, we'll charge $6 per user, and the margin on that will be, I don't know, 7%. Okay. Now that service is available for me to choose from. So I can go in and select that when I create my offers. I can add hardware in here if I'm selling headsets or laptops or servers. What are my selling points? So what makes our company worth doing business with? So we have nice T-shirts. We have the best looking people. We rarely mess up. You can add other things in here. We are available all across South Africa. Okay, so now that's a selling point that I can add into these assets that I create. And then the contact profile. So who are the people that can be contacted within the company, and then any logos. Okay, so I've built out the catalog with all these different assets. Now what I can do is build an offer. So I go in here and I say I'm going to deploy M365 Business for 10 people, and the monthly price is $12, although I'm actually going to charge 15 for my margin. I don't know what the margin is on that. Any custom software that I want to sell to them. So here's where I can select those custom applications. So maybe they want to use WebRoot, and we'll sell 10 of those. My professional services. So configuring M365 Business Voice, and we're going to do 10 of those. And then the hardware. So we'll do headsets, 5 of those. Obviously, these prices are way out of whack, right? This isn't what you'd really be charging. So you get a sense here of what your revenue would be each year, as well as your gross profit. Hopefully, on a $2,000 sale, you make more than $100. But you know, it's just because I didn't put accurate numbers in there. Now what you can do is download this as a PDF if you want to. Let's say Contoso. And I'm going to add, let's do Contoso Adventures and that logo and download. So if all goes well, this offer will be downloaded, and I can open it now. And there's my offer. And now I can deliver this to the customer, and it's all created very professional looking, and it's ready to go. I can do the same thing for the Builder library. So if I go to Resources and Builder library, I can create cell sheets. So sheets for teamwork, business premium. My quote's going to be, what do we say, $2,000. You can type in anything you want there. What are our selling points? We are available all across South Africa. We have the best looking people, and we have nice t-shirts. That and that. Download. And now it'll create a sell sheet for teams that I can then use as an asset when I want to talk to my customers about business premium. And it delivers, you know, why choose us? There's your information. So it's a pretty handy little tool. There's other things in here that you can do. You can create a pitch deck. You can do a product comparison sheet. So if you want to compare the pricing on different tools, so Office Business Premium, M365 Business, and Exchange Online. Again, download it, and it'll give a comparison sheet. For some reason, this one tends to fail the first time. You may have to download it a couple times in order for it to be successful. I'm not sure why it fails, but okay, this time it didn't. That's good. Now we've got a comparison. That only took 2. I'm not sure why it didn't do the third one. Maybe because it was Exchange Online only. But it gives you a comparison of those 2 tools and what the features are that you get with each one of them. So we get this kind of question a lot from customers: is, you know, what do I get with this SKU versus the other SKU? And then it's a little bit customized there. So great set of assets here for you to use with your customers. I'll go over some more tools that you can use when we talk more about Business Voice on Monday. But that's a high-level view of the Partner Launchpad. I just want to make sure that everybody is familiar with this. It is a very nice resource that partners are available to take advantage of, and one that is free, right? So I was logged in there, or I was not logged in there with any particular high-level privileges or anything. Just as long as I've got an MPN account, I can access these resources. And then from there, go deploy voice, right? You've got the assets to train, to figure out how to go to market, to talk to your customers, and the sales resources that you need. So go be successful. So there are some additional resources here that you can download at aka.ms/M365 Business Voice Hub, so that you can, again, learn the solution, learn how to set it up, and how to support the solution. And once again, well, this is incorrect. I need to change this little blue box. It should be down here for Module 5 for next week. So Module 5 is the one that we'll be talking about on Monday morning. So ignore where this blue box is set. You can download this deck at aka.ms/Tarsus M365B. So Tarsus Microsoft 365 Business is the way to remember that. So feel free to download that, and we'll talk more about how to position and market Teams Voice on Monday. And that brings us to the end of this presentation. Are there any questions anybody has? I'm happy to, we've got a few minutes left over, so if you have questions, please let me know.
It doesn't look like there's any questions, David. There's no questions in the chat as well. Thank you so much. And I'll be sending through the recording and the links to the deck straight after this. And we'll see you guys on Monday.
Okay, thanks. Have a good afternoon and evening, everybody.